Ireland utility customers could see a change in their utility bills. More on what's being proposed. Plus, Carrie Schneider visits our friends at the Dubois County Humane Society, and Jasper Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Nancy Eckerly is tonight's guest on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. In your news, Ireland utility customers could soon see a change in their utility bills. Officials with Ireland Utilities say they will be adding an increase to its utility rates starting with this month. The utility says they will be implementing an increase of 50 cents per 1,000 gallons of usage, meaning that, for example, the cost for a residence that uses 2,500 gallons of water will increase by $1.25 to $14.23 before taxes. Officials say the extra revenue will be used to upgrade the company's water system to keep up with the demands of its customers. Ireland Utilities is in the process of $4.4 million in upgrades that include replacing water mains with larger ones, adding a second water tower, and purchasing more water from the Jasper Water Utility. Customers wanting more information should call the Ireland Utilities office at 482-2015. The Jasper Utility Board may soon be a part of the City of Jasper's effort to update its zoning ordinances. Last night, the board heard a presentation from Jasper Mayor Terry Seitz and Director of Community Development and Planning Darla Blasey on the city's ongoing review of the master plan as it pertains to the zoning and to subdivision control ordinances. The presentation was specifically geared towards the utilities and how they can become involved in the process. Utilities General Manager Bud Hauersperger says the review of the ordinances will bring some clarity to everything as far as the role played by the utility departments in zoning.
It's really just a clarification, and so that builders will be able to go to these zoning requirements, and we'll kind of know what's going to be needed, and it'll allow us to kind of dictate, what we would like to see in those zones.
The last time that the city reviewed and updated the zoning ordinances was 1993. Hauersperger says the changes would encompass all types of zones, such as commercial, industrial, and residential. Ultimately, last night, the board approved further studying the role of utilities in city zoning ordinances going forward. Also last night, the board formally approved a resolution to amend the 2013 salary ordinance to reflect a recent restructuring of departments. Last month, the board approved the combining of the water and gas departments following several retirements in both departments. Hauersperger says the changes were made in order to make things run more smoothly.
We thought it would be a good time to look at everything, and we've kind of come up with some different ways to organize. We've eliminated some positions, we've added a couple positions, and that was mainly it, just to make it more efficient.
The combination of departments and the related salary ordinance now must be approved by the Jasper Common Council before they can be fully implemented. Finally, last night, Utility Board Chairman Wayne Sheeter read and released a prepared statement on the decision by Dr. Norma Kryline and Healthy Dubois County to reject the city's recent settlement offer for the ongoing litigation concerning the city's power plant. In the statement, Sheeter says the city is disappointed that Kryline and Healthy Dubois County were not willing to discuss the differences in the settlement that they offered versus the settlement that the city offered. Sheeter further stated the city maintains its position that it did not violate the open door law during meetings held for the lease of the plant, which was ultimately leased to Twisted Oak Corporation to be converted to a biomass plant. Finally, Sheeter said in the statement that the city and the utility board remain open to discussing a reasonable settlement with Kryline and Healthy Dubois County. Sheeter declined further comment following the meeting. Other notes from last night's meeting included the opening of 6 bids for the 3rd Avenue water main replacement project, which the board took under advisement at last night's meeting, and an update on the work at the spillway at Beaver Lake. Finally this evening, budget season is upon us, and one local school district has its new budget in place. Last night, the Greater Jasper Consolidated School Board adopted the corporation's budget for 2014. Before the board gave its approval, Superintendent Dr. Tracy Lori noted to the board that all advertising requirements were met, and a public hearing was held at last month's meeting on August 26th with no questions or comments from the public. No changes were given to the originally proposed budget, which totals $35,814,289. The budget is made up of the corporation's general fund, debt service, pension repayment, capital projects, transportation, and bus replacement funds, as well as the rainy day fund. All of those are incorporated in the total budget amount. Lori says, as is the case each year, the corporation will advertise its tax rate higher than normal, knowing that when the Department of Local Government Finance approves it, cuts will be made.
We anticipate that the tax rate will be very similar to what we had last year, but we will not know that until the DLGF has taken care of their end of this, which is reviewing what the board has approved and making their final cuts.
The 2014 budget will now be passed to the Department of Local Government Finance for final approval. Lori says she is hopeful the corporation will receive a tax rate similar to last year's, which was about $1.14 per $100 of assessed value. And collective bargaining for teachers in the Greater Jasper District is now complete. The Greater Jasper Board approved the collective bargaining agreement between the corporation and the Jasper Classroom Teachers Association at last night's meeting. Lori says the corporation uses a performance pay model that is prescribed by the State Board of Education and consists of 3 categories that teachers may potentially receive compensation for. They include the type of college degree a teacher may hold, results of performance evaluations, and what leadership opportunities a teacher may contribute to the school and to the school district. Lori says negotiations between the corporation and the Teachers Association went along smoothly.
First of all, I would just like to give kudos to the classroom teachers and their negotiating team. It's been a very collaborative effort as we look at what the needs of the district are and how we finance that. And so I really feel like it was a collaborative effort to get to the point where we had an agreement that we could agree upon.
Lori says the agreement is now an approved document that was agreed upon by the 2 sides last week. She says any changes will be processed for record at the district's central office. Coming up after the break, Carrie Schneider visits our friends at the DuBois County Humane Society, plus your local forecast, sports with Kurt Gooksell, and Inform featuring Jasper Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Nancy Eckerly. That's all up next here on 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.